Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Jay Fatty. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to start a new mini series where we're talking about in depth sampling in FL Studio, starting with the playlist. All right. So, we got this song here, Johnny Harris Orchestra, Footprints on the Moon. Okay, so that'd be the first step, is find out what you're trying to sample. And then, if you're trying to get it off of YouTube to MP3 is going to be your best friend. Or there's also this Chrome extension called Sample. It's pretty dope. You can just record stuff. But I would just recommend YouTube to MP3 to get the whole thing. Sample's good for like recording little bits. First thing I suggest you do is listen to the whole track and make mental markers or write down the time of different parts that you want to sample, okay? You may need to listen to it a few times. But once you know those spots, all we're going to do is just chop that out of the song, okay? So I'm actually going to go into here and I'm just going to pitch it up right now because I don't want to worry about having any copyright issues. All right, so hopefully we're good with that. I just pitched it up 300 cents. Okay, so I'm going to find the parts that I want out of this song. So once you find the part that you want to chop, I want to get this part right here. Press C on your keyboard to get the slicer, all right? We're going to zoom in up here by going to the black bar using the middle mouse button and scrolling in, okay? And now we can hold shift and left click and we can slice on any one of these points here. We want to slice right at that transient, just like so. Now we're going to find the ending spot of this loop. So like right around here. So I'll go back to the slicer, C on the keyboard, hold shift and left click to drag this around. What we can do is if we go up here to the magnet, we can do none. So there's no grid and that way it doesn't snap it to the grid there. So we'll just chop a little bit after the next transient because we want to have some room for error. All right. Remember that. So we got something like that now. So I'm going to go press P on my keyboard to get back to the pencil. And I can left click this chop to select it and then left click somewhere else in the playlist. And there's our loop. I'm just going to mute that for right now because I'm going to find a couple others. So this next chop that I want to get here is this one right here. It takes practice to hear what you want and to know where that transient is in the waveform. But you see, I can see where it is right there. We'll probably cut a little bit before, once again, to give room for error. And then the ending part is right about here. So once again, we'll cut after that, leave room for error. And now we got our other chop here. I'm going to mute the main song and we're just going to work with these two chops for the moment because we're trying to get them on BPM. So we're currently in 67 BPM and we know this chop is pretty close to a full loop here. So what we're going to do is try to use the time stretch mode to drag it out to 4 bars because I already know it's really close because I chopped it out and got that loop. Once again, the more that you do this, the more that you listen to music, the more that you make music, you'll be able to hear the loop, and especially knowing what time signature it is, you'll be able to loop it right. So we need to make this unique first. So what I'm going to do is make it loop completely first. So to do that, we already know we left a little bit of room for error over here. Let's just listen to it. So there's that little blip. I'm going to go press none on the magnet here, and I can just drag this out to like right here, somewhere around there. And we'll just try to see if this loops. All I did was right click on the black bar there and drag. It might not be perfectly on that endpoint, so you'll have to just right click and drag this around to get it right. But let's hear it. I already know that looped right because it sounded right. So we already know this is our chop. So what I'm going to do is hold shift, right click, make unique as sample. While holding shift, it just skips that file browser step because normally if you just right click, make unique as sample, it pulls up a file browser to name the sample. You can just hold shift to skip through all that. So now we got our first chop here. So I'm just going to drag this out to 4 bars now that it's this part only. That's what Make Unique does. It just makes it whatever is selected in this audio clip. So I'm going to just drag it out to 4 bars completely. It'll be easy as long as you're on none, because it'll just be going bit by bit there until you see that it's lined up with the end. So now let's hear how this sounds. All right, so let's put the metronome on and see if it's on BPM. Thankfully, this is on BPM. I say thankfully because sometimes you'll do all this, get it looped right, and just because it was played by humans, and humans aren't perfect, it won't be exactly on BPM, or it'll be off quite a bit. And sometimes you have to chop it even more and drag little pieces over, but I think we're good for right now. So let's mess with this other loop over here. So same process here. We're going to identify where it loops. And I remember I left a little bit of room for error in the beginning. So let's just listen to make sure the beginning is where it's supposed to be. There's a little bit there. I'm just going to hold shift and hover over the middle of the audio clip here, and then use the middle mouse button, and I can just drag that over a little bit. Make it be right on that transient. Okay, now I'm gonna go over here and do the same thing that we did before. Make sure the magnet is on none, and let's listen. There's that little bit there. We'll just drag it back until that's gone, right about there. And let's see if this loops. Indeed it does. So we're going to do the same thing. Hold shift, right click at the top left of the audio clip, make unique as sample, continue holding shift during all of this, and then boom, you got a unique clip with just that part of the sample. Now we're going to drag this out to the full 4 bars, and once again make sure it is on BPM. All right, now I'm gonna go back to the magnet, put it back on line, and let's highlight this 4 bar loop, and let's listen to how this loops when we dragged it out. So we're gonna keep this over here. Now it's time to go deeper with these chops because we have loops. We could just make the beat around this, but I kind of wanna mess with these even more. So let's listen. One thing I want to try to do is I'm going to press C on the keyboard to get to the slicer, and I can just click and drag or hold shift and just slice out this bit here. And then I'm going to hold shift, left click and drag, and now we have this chop going twice. See, this bit right here doesn't work, so we need to drag that back and bring this out. I don't know if I like that. So what we're going to do is actually isolate this chop, hold shift, right click, make unique as sample. That way this bit is unique, and just reverse it. And I just like the second half of it. So I'm going to click and drag and then bring the main chop out like this. Actually, I'm going to hold shift, left click, and drag this down. And I'm going to drag this out so we have all of this part of the chop back. Tip, so there's not many clicks and pops. If you double click the sample and go to declicking mode, you can do generic bleeding. And if you're on FL Studio 21, you zoom in here, you have crossfades if you need to manually mess with the fade. All right, so I like that. And maybe we'll even make this unique just so it's its own thing. Pan it to the left a little bit and bring the volume down. need to have this chop blend a little bit better, so maybe we'll do something like that. Yeah, I think that's dope. So now I just deleted that part there, and I'm just gonna hold shift, left click, and drag this over just so it repeats. All right, so that could be some kind of verse. We'll have that go for 8 bars, and then it'll drop into this, and we'll do something with this. I already know what I want to do, so I'm actually going to just take these bits out, hold shift, left click. That's one way to do that. You could also do a control B, so do a control left click to highlight this area, and then a control B, and it will copy it over, but that only works if it's on the actual grid, right? Like, for example, let me just show you. I go to none, and I bring this back a little bit, like off the grid, something like this, and then I do that same thing. It just copies it right over to the end of that first audio clip. So now all of these will be off. So just keep that in mind when you're doing the control B. That's why I just like to do a shift left click. All right, let's hear how this sounds. So that's pretty fire. We got 16 bars worth of chop. All right, we're gonna try to make some kind of grimy boom bap beat out of this. I'm gonna throw in a perk loop from Count Cole just to get some kind of groove. Probably take out that snare hit because I just want the perks. Oops. This is another way you could take it out. Just cut out that snare, then cut one of the perks next to it over and just copy it over. There, I chopped up the perk loop, so now we got a little groove. Let's add some grimy drums on top of that, or just some hard drums. Normally I use Count Cole drums, but I think we're going to use a mix of Count Cole and Drums That Knock X by Decap. Like, I want some... So that's pretty fire already. I'm just doing a little bit of arrangement here. So over here, we're going to have some kind of like difference. Probably throw on some kind of gross beat scratching. Let's see, turntable. Maybe we just want it on the... Let me actually go to crank. Have that go on. And then like right here, we'll throw on this other one. Basic 7, yeah. Maybe we won't have that all the way. Percentage, just something like this. Then it needs some kind of break. We could just be lazy and have it break into this. Do some kind of difference over here. Here we'll just have this repeat. All of these like so. I'm gonna cut the drums right there and have that repeat too. Right here, I'm gonna throw on a halftime quarter loop 1.5x mode, but we're gonna create an automation clip and have it kind of fade in by the time these drums come in. Something like this. That's dope. So we'll just have that fade out and be the outro to the beat, just like so. And we'll have it be more of a Just like that. Okay, so we don't need the sample anymore because the beat's done. We could do like an intro. I don't really like intros. I mean, really. Well, I could do something like, here, I'll do something like this. So we could do some intro like this. I just chopped the first part of the beat. I'm gonna have it do something like this. And then have that drop right into the beat. That's pretty much it for this video on sampling in the playlist. Next video will be sampling using Fruity Slicer, and then we'll do one using Slice X, and then we'll do one using my favorite method, which is using Serato sample. So stay tuned for all of that, yo. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell for new videos. I really appreciate it. Make sure you stay safe, stay striving, and always be getting it. Much love, yo. Peace.